Welcome to the Mortgage Podcast, where we give tactics, strategies, and inspiration to get you to 10 plus loans per month. We talk a lot about how to make a ton of money in mortgage while also being happy and thriving in your personal life. If you want to be a mortgage millionaire, you're in the right place. Welcome back to the Mortgage Podcast with Todd Screema. Today, we're talking about the 4 things that we control, and it's kind of a spin. I've been fortunate enough now to see Damon West, who wrote the book, The Coffee Bean, speak a couple times. Actually, I think I'm seeing him a 3rd time in a couple months, and he's just got a really good, resounding message. I'm going to spin it a little bit. I first saw him, it was COVID, so it was like 4 years ago, and it really made an impression on me, and it really felt self-empowering to clearly understand something so simple. And if you don't know Damon West's story, he basically was a super athlete and then got into drugs and became a felon and went to prison and then got out of prison. And it's about what he learned in prison. It's a great story. I don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't heard it, but there's a lot of psychology out there these days, which I think is great. But one of the things that maybe is not presented as frequently as I would prefer is the fact that we do control our feelings, and our feelings determine our life. The quality of our life is the quality of our feelings. Now, some people disagree with that, and they're at a point I used to. I'm like, hey, if you're getting the results you want, then life's great. I've always been kind of naturally positive and happy, so I put more emphasis on results because I felt pretty happy most of the time. But as I've delved into this, if you think about it, like there's a friend of mine that I've known for, 33 years. His name's Victor. And every time I talk to Victor, he's now in his 70s. He is just happy as heck. Just happy, joyful. And Robin Lavassa, our EVP of sales, asked me a great question a few weeks ago. She says, Todd, we were talking about a deep subject, and she's like, what if your whole life could just be filled with joy? And if you know Robin, she's always super happy. And she has a big life. And so, some of this stuff I learned from her as well. So the 4 things are your thoughts, your words, your actions, and your feelings. Again, a little different than what Damon West says. He basically says the same thing. I say it a little bit different, but it's for the purpose of understanding. So if you think about it, like, do we really control our thoughts? Yeah, I was driving here to do this podcast, coming from a couple meetings, and I try and turn off all of my notifications on my phone, but I've missed a couple. And something popped up about someone dying. And I just saw the word death, and I didn't look at it on purpose because I don't want to be going into podcasting thinking about, whoever passed. I mean, it wasn't someone personal. It was like a famous person or something, I guess. I don't know. But I'm controlling my thoughts. I'm not on social media that much. Why? And the people that I do have friend on social media tend to be very inspiring or teach me something. So when I am on it, it's like a tool. I don't care about someone else's life, no disrespect, but I've got a full life. So I don't have a lot of time to worry about people outside of my circle, which is my friends, family, and coworkers. So thoughts are something that we control. I don't watch the news hardly ever. And I don't need to hear about, a kid dying or a family that was grief-stricken because someone killed himself or robbed or something like that. It's just, I know those things happen in the world. I'm not sticking my head in the sand. I do pay attention to high-level crime statistics and stuff like that. But if I am in every single story sobbing like a baby, it's not going to help me feel better. So there is a little bit of like, hey, I'm protecting my thoughts and I'm creating my own thoughts. So your thoughts, I know this for me, it's a difficult one. You do control how you think. We certainly control our words. So when we say words like should or try, like should is one of those words where all you're doing with the word should, I should lose 10 pounds, is you're self-shaming yourself. I don't know if you think about it that way, but that's what a psychologist would tell you. You're shaming yourself. You're condemning yourself. Either lose the 10 pounds or be okay not. People look pretty good chubby. Like it's not a big deal. Like you got 10 extra pounds on you. If you're okay with it, you're okay with it. I had to deal with this with a family member smoking. And they're like, I like to smoke. I love it. And I'm not quitting. I'm just like, God bless you. Like, I don't think you should, but it's your life and I'm not going to worry about it. You clearly know what smoking can do to you. And maybe it doesn't, but it's your choice. In order for me to go beyond that, I would be getting very codependent, worrying about someone smoking all the time. There's millions of people smoke, probably billions. I can't worry about them all. You're like, Todd, but that's your family member. But my family member made a decision. So your words count. Your words count. And being self-deprecating and things like that, we all do that sometimes. I do it sometimes. But
at the end of the day, I got to wake up and say, you know what? I'm a good person. I try and help people every day of my life. And most of the time I'm successful. Those are words that are spoken. Likewise, words like, and I hear this a lot in today's society, a lot of criticism, a lot of blame, a lot of finger pointing. All those people are doing is diminishing their quality of life. It does me no good, and sorry, Veronica's sitting here recording, for me to look at her and say, you shouldn't do that. You're stupid for doing that. Like, how makes her feel bad. And frankly, it makes me feel bad. Now, that doesn't mean I can't, as a boss, and say, hey, I need you to do this better, and here's why. Could you correct this? That's not self-deprecating. That is not being mean to someone. That is being honest and saying it in a respectful way. So words matter. And oh my gosh, do I see words. I see words all over the place where people are just, they don't understand that they're ruining their own lives. Maybe ruin's a strong word. They're diminishing their quality of life. So words matter. Certainly our actions. So on our actions, like we either do it or we don't. And that's okay. That's the way the world works. I like the era that we're in where there's a lot of access to education. I mean, you can pull up YouTube and probably watch 1,000 videos about Oprah and Tony Robbins speaking, two of the greater minds of our era. Like, I think that's great. But we've also gotten into an era where we're big on hype, low on action. And I would rather people just take more action consistently and the quality of their life will continue to increase and talk about it less, right? We all need motivation. There's nothing wrong with that, but it'll lie to you where you get off a Tony Robbins podcast and you feel on top of the world, but then we don't do anything with it. You just wasted an hour. You felt good. It's like dopamine hit for an hour. You're like, yeah, I should do that. Yeah, that's a good idea. I should do that. But where the real meaning of life is going to come in is we actually do it. Another way said, someone told me a long time ago, love is an action, not a thought. So I could be like, well, I really love my son, but when I feel that way, I should call him. I happened to call my son last night. We had an hour-long conversation. And it's like, man, that was good. You know, I thought of him. Picked up the phone, and I've kind of made myself get into that rhythm. I think of something, I just call them, right? That's action oriented. So then the last thing is feelings. This one gets really out there. People are like, do you really control your feelings? Oh, this is deep. Do you really? Yeah. I think of it, this may far out there to some of you guys, but your feelings is how you feel, which is how you project yourself, how you think about yourself, and what you say. So of all these things, I think feelings are most important in some ways. Because if you feel good, you tend to do good. And I've had this argument with some people and they're like, you don't control your feelings. You don't know what happened to me in my childhood. My dad beat the hell out of me. Well, what if you forgave him? What if we stopped living in the past and we looked at all the great things that your father did? He didn't do anything great. You're here because of him. Are you saying your life is not worth it? No, I'm not saying that. Well, maybe it's a different way of feeling about it. And this gets really deep. Like if you have a great dinner conversation, talk about, do you control your feelings or not? It's crazy because you'll separate into two camps. You'll have some people that say you can control your feelings. The other half says, no way you can. Someone did something mean to me. I don't control how I feel about it. I don't know. Ask Gandhi if you know that story. He controlled his feelings in prison for years and years and forgave his captors completely. No, maybe the story's a lie. Maybe Gandhi really hated him. I can't really tell you for sure, but that's how the story's written. And there's been some horrible things happen to probably just about everybody on this planet. And no, it's not all the same. But if you let that determine your life, isn't that other person winning in the first place? So when you get into this feelings conversation, it's deep. I try and do podcasts that are on my mind that I think would help people become better people and influence people better. And that's really the whole point of this. So this is a bit of psychology, but it's about, hey, 4 things that we control: our thoughts, our words, our actions, our feelings. Think about it. Maybe listen to this with your spouse or with a friend. I know that sounds kind of corny, but it'll lead to some great discussions. And really what all this leads to is a very high level of self-awareness. You know, I had an incident a week ago where I told a person I care very much about some things that was like came out as blame and anger in comparison. The next day went by, I went back to that person. I said, I'm horrified at how I spoke to you. And I felt low, and it's not my character. And I wasn't cussing, I wasn't yelling. I just made some comparisons and things that they just weren't appropriate because it's not how you speak to someone. And I really try and control these things. So it was very embarrassing for me to go through that. And because of that, we talked about actions. I hired a lady to do shadow work. I don't know if you know what that is, but I'm learning. It's shadow work is a type of therapy. And I heard this lady's great. I already got an appointment with her next week to start the process. And someone said, why did you do that? I said, because I had this incident and I wanted to do something about it. What I did wasn't okay. It wasn't fair. And it wasn't my heart. So the fact that it happened means I got some more work to do. And there's always work to do. So there's a personal story from my life that just happened. I would say 90% of the time, I'm pretty good at these things, but no one's ever perfect, right? It's just, I've worked on it for years and years and years, really hard. And I still need a lot of work. I'm still really broken in some areas. So anyway, I hope that you share this with someone that maybe they are playing victim or they are blaming a lot of the government, who knows what. And maybe this cracks the seal to where they can develop more self-awareness on how we can all live a better, more fulfilling life. And that's really the point of all this. How you feel determines the quality of your life. Your feelings come from all of these three other things we spoke about. So kind of deep, but I hope you enjoyed it. Have a beautiful day.